On news tonight, President Mahama orders halt of military recruitment exercise in Accra after 6 potential recruits die in stampede and 1 sustains injuries in Kumasi. We've had details as he orders the Ghana Armed Forces to review crowd management and screening procedures before resuming the exercise.
Na yenhwem na yen hihye foforo se ne beya na esi no ensi sabium.
And Ghana Armed Forces institutes internal board of inquiry to probe the Elwak stampede.
The Ghana Armed Forces has instituted an internal board of inquiry to investigate the causes of this unfortunate incident.
Also in this package, 379 foreigners arrested for holding Ghanaian passports under false Ghanaian identities.
They thought they could beat the system because, to go through the process, you need a Ghana card, you need a birth certificate. And they think that is all once you have it.
Tonight in business, ahead of tomorrow's budget presentation, government unveils infrastructure development agenda in 2026 with allocation of over 30 billion cedis. And elsewhere, UN urges Libya to shut immigration. Of these stories and more here on News Tonight with me, Bernice, Abu-Baidoo, Lansah. Please stay for details. Tonight, we begin with Insight. We start off on a rather disturbing note tonight for Insight. Imagine your family member or loved one found dead in an attempt to find a decent job. A screening process for new applicants into the Ghana Armed Forces at Elwak Sports Stadium turned chaotic, leaving at least 6 people dead, according to the Ghana Armed Forces. Some 12 persons are currently in critical condition and others are suffering various degrees of injuries. The latest tragedy has thrown the country into a state of mourning once again, and we visited the Elwak Sports Stadium earlier and engaged some of the applicants.
Actually, I'm very disappointed in the GAF because, you see, there's one thing I want to say in advice. I know all problems have been meted out, but then one advice I'll give to all Ghanaians is we need to have a transformative mind to transform Ghana, because they be a case in a Ghana man time. Even the time they gave us, even the military people weren't on time. You understand? And then all these things, when you came, people were just falling down, stepping on people and others, and the organization was very poor. And one advice I want to give to the army people is, if they know once they are saying it has been suspended, what I would say is then they should just pick a straight 7 days or 1 week. Maybe 2 days for the army, 2 days for the air force, then 2 days for the navy. Then with that one, we know that we are all secured. And then another problem is, they know our work is not that big. To contain, see the whole greater Accra municipality, it's a metropolitan. See, we. Our work is not that big. So at least if as army for air by air worker, now air force was air Accra, now navy for Tema. You understand? So I think these are some challenges the military needs to check out. Yeah, okay.
Others pass on. Even up to now, they said that it has been postponed to until further notice. So we have to go home and come when they are called for us.
Where are you from?
I'm from Odododio constituency. We came here since yesterday around 1 o'clock afternoon. Up to now, we are still here. Nothing is happening. And we even lost some of our members.
I'm just sad because someone has prayed for the child in a very peaceful way, like you are coming for a screening and a body selection, and you know meet your mom the same way you left house, the same way you left home. I'm just sad. There was this girl yesterday. We came here around 10, and there were many people were here when we came that time, so we were all cracking jokes and laughing. So this morning when we came, they were like, we should go in by climbing the wall. So the boys will push you to climb the wall because the gate was very crowded. Okay. So me, I used the wall. Using the wall, I used this particular place. So getting there, I saw girls and boys lying down. Some of them obi sad dane, obi moja and had. I was asking why. Before I could notice what was going on. Me was say crowd na some baby then people started falling. And things and.
So you heard some of the applicants there, the last one giving us an eyewitness account of the chaos that erupted, others suggesting ways that this could have been handled better. A similar incident was recorded in Kumasi. Thankfully, there have been no deaths. Conflicting reports, though, the Ashanti Regional Minister earlier posted on Facebook that 5 people had died, but the President much later mentioned, 5 people had been injured, I beg your pardon. The Ashanti Regional Minister on his Facebook said 5 people had been injured, but the President much later announced 1 person being injured. President Mahama has directed a halt to the recruitment happening in the Greater Accra region at the Elwak Sports Stadium. This is due to the stampede which resulted in the death of 6 young Ghanaians, 5 persons we understand in ICU, 12 others in critical condition. The President, before his scheduled travel to the Ashanti region for the official launch of the Nkukwan Kitinkiti initiative, made a stop at the 37 military hospital to commiserate with those who were, or persons who had died, the families of those people, and to visit those who had been injured. Speaking at the gathering much later in Kumasi, he justified the suspension of the screening for new arrangements to be made.
And Arehosembi etoye atorenchembi etoye anopei emrebi etwemu se kobasi efa soldier anase efa police ana bibia we hu se ni aye no kokom wonte hwe obehwa na yeyi nipa se omonko for training enti abra ye bontoa ansa ne ebeto 2024 abato no me shebo se ba akoba se ye fa soldier na police ye de betudwa na region bia yama ye mabuna kwenya na omonso omwetimi abepre se ne be ya ombenya se adwuma ni bia ye ampanso ye bie ade a ye friend no portal enti mabunu bi ekosa fidie no so eko register enti enne na nke wo se ye hyase na ye hwe omonwoma ni omonho se ni omonho de sitie ene san ni omani na enti anopei region bia ye kire omo bebia e wo se omuhia na Accra akoye kropon no ye se nipa dodo a epie ye se omohwe se adwuma no na omo dosun ye na aho prepare ne ade a hyase abra ye bie gate no se nipa enremu no ma nipa ni bebre de ahoden epia se omokom omanim etime ewrem na arehosem ne se ebi ehwe ase emye tietia omoso na menemo kasei se na yenya ntiye nipa ensia ya mabunu ahwere omonkwa na dumienu bi nso eda hospital a echese ayeden nso ye bompa ese omho beto omo na nyame enya areho ama omo enti make say soldier mpanyufo amaya so atese yemma ensia omo nyina eyemma bawa oma hwere omo nkwa se Kumasi hanso bibi kakra sa siye a echese nipa baako se we prade den dia oda ayarsabia ono so ya bompa ese obenya ahode na nyame ehunu mobo enti enkran no meka che asoja force omunja ansa na yenhwem na ye nhihye foforo se ne be ya na esi no ensi sabium enti makasa no mesre.
So that's President John Dramani Mahama speaking at the launch of the GHOne Kitinkiti project in Kumasi. He was speaking in Tree, basically trying to give a bit of context to what happened today about his campaign promise to open the portals for young Ghanaians to apply for jobs in the security services. He indicated that when the portal was opened, the numbers were high, and per the arrangement, there were supposed to be screenings done at various points across the country. But Accra being cosmopolitan and highly populated, the numbers were a bit overwhelming, resulting in the stampede, leading to the death of 6 females. And he did mention that some 12 persons are in critical condition, being taken care of. Hopefully they are able to pull through. Well, still on this issue, in Parliament, Acting Defence Minister Dr. Kasil Atuforsen spoke about a body that has been instituted by the Ghana Armed Forces to probe the matter.
This year's recruitment exercise is being conducted simultaneously across all regions. Indeed, it was a system designed to decentralize the process, reduce congestion, ensure transparency and fairness, as well as to ensure accessibility nationwide. Unfortunately, despite these measures, a stampede occurred at the LWAC facility in Accra. I regret to report that there were 34 persons who were direct casualties, some of whom are potential recruits, and others, Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, are not related to the enlistment at all. Mr. Speaker, out of these 34 casualties, 6 persons have been confirmed dead. Mr. Speaker, 5 are critical, and as we speak, they are the ICU. Right Honourable Speaker, 12 are fairly critical. Mr. Speaker, the rest are stable and under observation. Additionally, there's a reported case of 1 person hospitalized at the Kumasi Recruitment Center, though that incident is unrelated to the stampede in Accra. I wish to assure honourable members that in all other regions, the exercise is progressing smoothly and without incident. Right Honourable Speaker, the Ministry of Defence deeply mourns the loss of life and extend condolences to the affected families. We are working closely with the Ghana Armed Forces, medical teams and law enforcement agencies to provide full support to the injured and to investigate the circumstances that led to this tragedy. Mr. Speaker, as a result, the Ghana Armed Forces has instituted an internal board of inquiry to investigate the causes of this unfortunate incident.
Let's now hear from former Defence Minister Dominic Nitiwul, who is calling for a better recruitment system to ensure that the interest of applicants are met.
Mr. Speaker, I say this with a heavy heart because I just left that ministry after spending 8 years. God being gracious to me, things like this didn't happen under my watch. It's the will of God. It's not by me, but it's by the grace. I will support the call to hold the process, not just at LWAC, but the entire recruitment process. To really look at the exercise and give ourselves some time, Mr. Speaker, to find out what is happening. That's the first thing I would suggest. Mr. Speaker, the second thing, so that the military can reform, because we have not seen this for a long time. We get bruises, but to get people to die and we just continue as if nothing has happened is not good.
Let's now get onto the phone lines and engage MP for Wa West and Vice Chairman of Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee, Peter Tobu. Grateful for your time here this evening. Now, the Acting Defence Minister paints a certain picture of some thought, some intentionality that went into designing this process to be decentralized, obviously taking into cognizance the numbers that they were expecting. However, the stampede occurred today. From where we sit, do you think that the military could have done a better job in terms of how the crowd was controlled?
Thank you very much. Let me into your cherished viewers and to say good evening to His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for demonstrating leadership of empathy. With the speed with which he went to 37 amazed all of us. But that is what the president should do. He is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. What happened today is made us all sad. If you came to Parliament in the afternoon to see our faces, you could actually see that we represent the people who are mourning, and all of us were mourning. What happened today, it's an eye-opener for us to see there is so much pressure within the youth wing of this country as they seek for jobs. The pressure to get a job has created all these things. Look, the military has managed crowds heavier than this number. But what happened had to do with the fact that the gates were locked and they were supposed to open the gate in the morning for the applicants to enter. It was an open place. There could even be 50,000. All of them will be there. But when you have a point that this is the point of entry, and then it is time and they open the gate and everybody is trying to get in there first so that when he's attended to or she's attended to, he can go back home. It's a possibility of a stampede. Had it not been for the stampede, the numbers do not really matter. They could have managed the numbers. The decentralization that characterizes particular recruitment makes it very successful in all other areas apart from Accra. And I think the Accra number had shown that if we were a bit meticulous, probably we could have created about 2 or 3 centers for Accra alone. And this wouldn't have happened. But come what may, these are lessons that we have to learn going forward.
Right. You do indicate that we could have handled this better. In fact, engaging one of the applicants, we were told that they came in earlier per the advertised time, but they were not attended to at the time that the military had announced that it will do. We know that the military has now instituted a board of inquiry, but for the Defense Committee, are we looking forward to having some parallel investigations happening?
We are waiting for a detailed briefing from the minister. We are waiting for a detailed briefing from Military High Command, and we'll appreciate it so much. After that, we'll take the necessary steps. The Speaker has directed the Committee of Defense and Interior to follow up on the matter to ensure that we get a clear picture as to what actually happened. The military can have their board of inquiry doing their own internal investigations, but the people's representative in Parliament will be excited to get the military before us, the ministry before us, for them to tell us what was this standard operating procedure for the day and how was it executed? Where did the lapses come? What can we learn from that? And going forward, how can we prevent that from ever happening again?
You talk of prevention, though. There are many who suggest that in this modern day and age, we don't need to see people queuing to go through a certain form of screening to join the military. Your thoughts?
As for queuing, the queuing will queue. The numbers we should be able to manage using technology. And I think it is possible that if you have a software that you use as an app for you to get the numbers during the recruitment process, there is an app. You go online and you apply. After that, if you call for data from the software, you'll be able to know that people have chosen this particular center and the number is so huge. So if that is the case, then probably let me break them into batches. And some people can come in the morning, some can come in the afternoon. Or probably I can have 3 or 4 other venues or centers for them to spread out to reduce the pressure on the particular center. We can use technology to solve this. And I think going forward, these are issues that we can resolve, and maybe in the near future we'll never experience such a thing again. It's quite unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm grateful for your time this evening. That's the MP for Wa West and Vice Chairman of Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee, Peter Tobu, who's just been explaining from his perspective that this could have been handled better, responding to the last question about why we still, in this day and age, have people massing up to go through a screening exercise. He's of the view that the queues will still be needed anyway, but the organization must be aided using technology, and that's where you heard him talking about using a certain app or a portal to better organize the crowds and the numbers. We've also been joined tonight by a retired military officer, security consultant, Colonel Festus Abuaja, retired, and he joins us via Zoom. Grateful for your time this evening, Colonel. This is rather disappointing because lives have been lost, but also because people expect much more from the military when it comes to organization and discipline. Did the military fail in that regard? Sorry, Colonel, I can't hear you. Can you kindly unmute your device if it's muted?
Yes, I said thanks for having me and condolences to the bereaved families. Now, I was saying that I'm still at a loss as to why the stampede occurred, because we have come a very long way in organizing and managing recruitment events, including the regionalization, which is the latest format. But if you wake up now, given other economic factors in the country, and Accra or Greater Accra alone is 21,000, and I heard from a radio station that 9 screening tables had been set up. If you do the math, you are going to require upwards of 38 hours, working hours. And a working hour is not 12 hours a day, it's less. But even if you work with the 38 hours, you're talking of more than 4 days if each recruit took 1 minute in front of a screening table. The whole idea is that during the planning, somebody should have realized that it was not going to be feasible to process 21,000 candidates, screening their qualification papers, birth certificates, whatever it is. So therefore, given that they were electronically informed, they could have been, grouped into batches. So Monday the 11th or 12th, so many of you must come to Elwa. Tuesday the 13th, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, that is not what happened. So we need to hear from the Military Board of Inquiry as to how, first of all, the stampede occurred. But investigating the stampede does not answer the question as to how the planning ended up with 21,000 recruits at Elwak. It was not going to be feasible.
Right. Colonel, so the other leg of this is the use of technology. So, for example, now if someone is applying for a passport, they don't necessarily need to go and sit in front of somebody to answer certain questions. You upload all your biometric details. So you speak about your birth certificate and all those other things. Has the Ghana Armed Forces slacked in employing the use of technology for this screening exercise? So say they could have used technology to bring the numbers down to an appreciable level where the face-to-face contact could have happened.
You see, when you apply for a passport, it is just the process of your application being processed. That's about it.
Right.
Now, recruitment entails other activities.
Right.
You need to do a physical body selection to see whether the biological features or physical features of a person, let's say an anta, cross legs, flat foot, this and that, glinting eye, those, you need to check all of them. That's a physical inspection. Then there is also a cost in medical examination. So you need to go to 37. Now, if you use electronics and you send 21,000 recruits to 37, when you are looking for probably 1,000, you have wasted 20,000 resources on people who stood no chance of ever.
And Colonel, that's where my question comes in. Could we find a point of discrimination? For example, if we ask for you to bring your medical records, if it is possible, visit a health facility, a government-recognized health facility. Let's just check your medicals. Based on that, we already have a way of streamlining and seeing that these people are not even eligible on that level before we even do the physical examinations, so that the numbers are whittled down.
That analogy alone is sensible, is reasonable. It does not take into consideration the integrity question. You know, in this country, There are people going by the title of professors who have never earned the professorship. You see it. So when it comes to a sensitive institution like the armed forces, and then you allow people to go to whatever certified, non-certified medical facilities to go and do their screening, you cannot trust the results. It's likely some will fake the results. You see it. So for the armed forces, the whole thing is that there was no agency to process 21,000 recruits in one day. So logistically, they should have been broken into batches and then called by the electronic messaging app to come to 37 or Kumasi or wherever in those batches, which would be reasonable or manageable numbers. The challenge mainly is the size of the numbers that assemble. I passed by Elwak this morning en route to Birmingham. And when I saw that number, I couldn't believe my eyes. And this is only Greater Accra.
Right.
Schools, Kufurudia, Kumasi, whatever it is. 21,000 when you sit around any planning table for an event like military recruitment, you'll be, outstanded by the number. And your logical approach should be, okay, how many recruits can we process in a day? That's a fundamental question to answer.
Right.
Then based on that, yes, please.
Please wrap up on your thought.
Okay, so that's about all that I have to say. Now we need to wait for the Military Board of Inquiry, which some people are, questioning whether they will be honest enough. I have no doubts about the integrity of the institution of the armed forces. So we should allow the armed forces to do the investigation. But the investigation should not be about what caused the stampede. That is only one part of it.
Right.
The investigation should also determine whether indeed, to start with, it was feasible to process 21,000 recruits in a day.
I.e. organizational lapses. If there were any lapses in the organization of this. I'm grateful for your time this evening. You just had the Colonel Festus Abuaje retired, sharing his thoughts on this rather unfortunate incident. We'll be following up keenly on this matter, especially getting you updates on those who are in critical condition at the hospital and other people who suffered various degrees of injuries as a result of the stampede. That'll be all for Insight. Let's do some other stories now here on News Tonight. The communities of Dadring and Shridium are still feeling the impact of a special dawn operation by the military and police this Wednesday. The heavily armed team deployed as part of a special anti-crime operation carried out simultaneous raids in the two communities, leading to the arrest of hundreds. The arrests are linked to recent attacks on personnel of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Task Force, Secretariat team at Shridium, and on the Environmental Protection Authority, that's the EPA team at Dadring. Ashanti Regional Correspondent Isaac Justice Bediako has more.
Over 300 police personnel, along with an undisclosed number of soldiers, were deployed for the exercise, which was sanctioned by both national police and military commands. Before the team set off from Kumasi at about 2 a.m. on Wednesday, October 11, 2025, the personnel were advised to conduct the operation professionally and to avoid any form of human rights abuse. However, COP Dr. Siedu Gariba, Director General Technical, urged the personnel to remain firm in the face of threats whilst maintaining professionalism.
We are going to undertake a special operation in the region. You know, the locations will be disclosed as we move. All what the Inspector General of Police wants you to do is to be professional, extremely professional as you conduct your business. Please execute the tasks according to the briefing that has been given to you. And as we go, please make sure that you are firm, you are robust, you are professional in the execution of your tasks.
COP Joseph Oklu also reiterated the need for the operation to be conducted in a strict compliance with the law.
We are a law enforcing agency. We are supposed to ensure that as we work, we enforce the law as well. One very important aspect of what we are going to do is that we must also acknowledge the fact that we are going to work with and on human beings. Let's ensure that we do not trample on the law as we execute our duty. Let's respect their humanity, let's respect their rights, but at the same time, if anybody goes against the law must deal with the person.
Following these briefings, the team departed Kumasi and arrived in Dadjane around 4 a.m., where they began rounding up men in the community. The sudden operation created tension and shock among residents, with signs of distress, as wife, girlfriends, and family members of the arrested suspects broke down in tears. Despite initial resistance from some suspects, police personnel conducted themselves professionally and avoided any violation of individual rights. The suspects were later transported to Kumasi Police Training School for interrogation and screening. The police command, in collaboration with the military command, will brief the media after the screening exercise is complete. Reporting for GHOne News, Isaac Justice Bediako, Kumasi.
Now, let's stay a while on matters relating to crime. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says 379 foreigners have been arrested for holding Ghanaian passports under false Ghanaian identities during a recent vetting exercise. According to Sector Minister, to further strengthen security, the ministry has restricted the use of a mobile phone number to 5 passport applications. The following report has more.
The Minister for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa, during a press briefing revealed that 379 Ghanaians were arrested after successfully acquiring Ghanaian passports under false Ghanaian identities during a recent vetting exercise. He outlines security measures that have been introduced to streamline the process.
It is clear that some people who are not Ghanaians want to lay hands on our passports. And they thought they could beat the system because, to go through the process, you need a Ghana card, you need a birth certificate. And they think that that is all once you have it. But with a Ghana card and with a birth certificate, you are still subjected to vetting. You cannot apply with the same phone number for more than 5 applications.
Beginning November 13, 2025, you will pay 350 Ghana cedis for a chip-embedded passport, which used to go for 500 cedis. The new arrangement also includes a free courier delivery service within 15 working days. The minister announced that applicants in need of urgent travel documents can now request a super expedited service, which delivers the passport within 24 hours at a special fee of 2,000 Ghana cedis.
We take the view that passport applications must be affordable and it must be accessible to all Ghanaians as far as possible. There are some who may be thinking that because of the reduction in fees, the quality of the passports will reduce. No, it's the same quality, the same chip embedded passports. Passports will still be delivered to you without a fee. You don't have to pay the courier service providers.
The foreign minister assured Ghanaians that the era of Goro boys or middlemen is over. He emphasized that enhanced security measures have been implemented to protect the integrity, credibility, and global reputation of the Ghanaian passport.
Now to some court stories. The Supreme Court has set timelines for the Attorney General and Plaintiff, Democracy Hub, to file written submissions in a case challenging government over an alleged secret memorandum of understanding with the United States of America on the deportation of West African nationals. Per the timeline set by the Apex Court, panel of 5, presided over by Justice Gabriel Scott Bramang, the applicant and AG are to file their submissions relating to the plaintiff's application for discovery simultaneously within 1 week from Wednesday. The panel, which also includes Justices Ernest Gale, Richard J. Frimpong, Senyo Jamefe, and Hafisata Amaleboba, said the court will deliver a ruling on November 26, 2025 on the application for discovery before considering the injunction. You're watching News Tonight with me, Bernice, Abu-Baidoo, Lansah. When we come back from these messages, we'll be focusing on the budget presentation tomorrow.
Is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
Thanks for staying here on News Tonight. It's now time for business, and government is committing 30.8 billion cedis in the 2026 budget to accelerate Ghana's infrastructure development under its flagship Big Push project. President Mahama says the allocation, more than double what was earmarked in 2025, will finance the completion of stalled projects and open new road networks, particularly across the northern transport corridors that have faced years of underinvestment.
And as I've said everywhere, this year the finance minister put 13.8 billion cedis into the Big Push road construction. Next year, he's reserving 30.8 billion cedis for the Big Push road construction. And so payment is not going to be the problem. If a contractor is not working, it's not because he's not been paid. The Minister of Finance has guaranteed that once you raise your certificate and it is certified and inspected and you've done the road to specification, you receive your payment immediately. And so to our chiefs and our communities, I urge you to support the work, protect the materials, cooperate with the engineers, because these roads belong to you. They are being built for you, your children, and your great-grandchildren. The Big Push is not an isolated initiative. It is part of a grand national network. And so as we commission the Wa to Muhang Navrongo Road and also the Wa Laura Hamile Road, I wish to announce to you that just last week I cut the sword for the Winchi Bamboy Sola Wa Road.
Do stay with us here on GHOne Television. We'll be bringing you live coverage of the 2026 budget presentation in Parliament. So you stay with us. The team will be here to carry you through from the beginning to the end. Expect some analysis as well. Now, some private companies operating in and around the Saglemi housing project area have appealed to government to allocate the project to companies in the area. Management of pharmaceutical company Atlantic Life Sciences Limited, for instance, argues such a move will help address accommodation challenges of its staff. Apologies for that. We will bring you that report in subsequent bulletins. It's now time for sports.
Still, Misaka. And
Many thanks for joining me here on Sports Brief. I am Monica Bukari. Now, the 2025 World English Language Scrabble Players Association Championship has begun at the Palms by Eagle Hotel in Accra. The tournament will see 24 countries from Africa, Europe, Asia and America represent their various countries in the three-day world event that is being hosted by Ghana for the very first time. Over 280 athletes participated in day one of the event, with experienced players from Ghana, Britain, South Africa, India, Nigeria, Australia, showing high levels of competition. President of the Pan-African Scrabble Association, Adekoyejo Adegbemisan, praised Ghana for an organization of the international tournament. Away from that, Black Stars players began their first training session with 19 players in Nagoya as preparations began for Japan and South Korea friendlies. The players include Christopher Bonsuba, Joseph Annan, Lawrence Atizigi, Derek Cohn, Jerome Opoku, Ebenezer Annan, Jonas Ajete, Kojo Opon Pepra, Caleb Urinchi, Alidu Seidu, and Gideon Mensah. The rest are Abu Francis, Kwesi Sibo, Prince Owusu, Kamaldeen Sunema Mana, Antoine Semenyo, Brandon Thomas Asante, Kelvin Nkrumah, and Prince Edukwabna. Monaco defender Mohamed Salisu and CF Montreal striker Prince Osei Owusu are also the latest players to team up with the Black Stars in Nagoya after arriving in camp this evening. The two will join the full squad training on Thursday ahead of the match on Friday. They take on the number of players arrived in camp to 21 following the inclusion of Christopher Bonsuba, who arrived earlier on Wednesday, leaving Benjamin Asari as the only player who is yet to arrive in Japan. Ghana is expected to face off with Japan in the Kirin Cup at the Toyota Stadium in Aichi on Friday, November 14, 2025, as both teams use the match to prepare for the 2026 FIFA World Cup in USA, Canada, and Mexico. Meanwhile, Black Stars head coach Otto Addo will meet the media on Thursday at the Toyota Stadium in Aichi ahead of Friday's international friendly against Japan. The press conference will likely see Coach Otto Addo discuss the team's preparations for the match and the upcoming 2026 FIFA World Cup in USA, Mexico, and Canada. Now, in the Women's Cup, Ghana's Black Princesses Sarah Nyako has been named the overall best player in the Wafubi Under-20 Girls Cup in Benin. The Dreams ladies' dynamic midfielder scored 3 goals and provided an assist in Ghana's 4 matches played at the Just Ended tournament. Sarah succeeds Stella Nyameche, who won the Best Player award in the maiden edition in Kumasi. Ghana finished as runners-up to Nigeria, failing to defend their title. This tournament serves as a chance for head coach Charles Sampson to fine-tune his team ahead of the upcoming FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifier against South Africa. And that's all for sports. My name is Monica Bukari. Back to you, Bernice.
Thank you so much, Monica. And before we go, just a quick international news update. And UN countries, including Britain, Spain, Norway, and Sierra Leone, have raised alarm over the treatment of migrants in Libya, a key transit point for Africans fleeing conflict and poverty toward Europe. Some migrants have been held in warehouses by traffickers, subjected to violence and extortion. A Dutch court case has exposed grim details, while a UN agency says bodies found in Mars or gunshot wounds. And that's how we end this edition of News Tonight. I'm Bernice, Abu-Baidoo, Lansah, produced by Emmanuel Ejabing. And there's more news when you log on to starfm.com.gh. From the entire team, we wish you a very good evening.